incumbent government led by Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has faced widespread criticism from all quarters for its decisions since the start of its term. However, amid grave issues facing the nation, the same government has also managed to produce a few token achievements, the Tamakoshi hydropower project being one of them. The hydropower plant began its operation from yesterday and is expected to produce electricity worth 9 billion rupees annually. Good morning, I am Bipashna Tamang and these are the headlines of the hour. The hearing on the writs filed against the dissolution of the House of Representatives concludes. The next hearing fixed for 12th of July. Upper Tamakoshi hydropower project kicks off operation 11 years since the constructions began. First unit produced 76 megawatts of electricity yesterday. Around 140 students missing in Nigeria's Kaduna state after armed men raid a boarding school. Police in hot pursuit alongside military personnel. And defending champions Brazil reached the finals of Copa America, defeating Peru by a solitary goal. Lucas Paqueta scores the only goal of the match. The hearing on the writs filed against the dissolution of House of Representatives and demanding the appointment of Nepali Congress President Sher Bahadur Deuba as the Prime Minister concluded yesterday. The amicus curiae have so far been divided regarding the argument, and the next session has been scheduled for Monday next week. We have more in this report.
The hearing, which started on 23rd of June at the Constitutional Bench of the Supreme Court, ended on Monday after 4 amicus curiae presented their arguments on the writ petitions. The bench has fixed the date of the next hearing on the writ for 12th of July. The amicus curiae's opinion in the case, however, has been divided. Senior advocates Raghav Lal Baidya and Komal Prasad Ghimire stood with the petitioners, while senior advocates Usha Malla Pathak and Prakash Bahadur Kesi argued against the petitioners. Senior advocate Ghimire opined that the reclaim of Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli to the post of premiership in accordance to Article 76(5) was unconstitutional. Senior advocate Ghimire sought basis for the claim of premiership at a time when Prime Minister Oli himself had failed to secure the vote of confidence from the House of Representatives and had said to give way for an alternative government. However, senior advocate Usha Malla Pathak opined that election was the best alternative, saying that the dissolution of the lower house was a constitutional decision in accordance to Article 76(5) of the Constitution. Lawyer Pathak demanded for a mandamus from the bench to inoculate vaccines against COVID-19 to all citizens prior to the elections. Another member of the amicus curiae, senior advocate Raghav Lal Baidya, raised question on the appointment of Prime Minister Oli in accordance to Article 76(3) of the Constitution when there was no strong ground for securing the confidence vote from the lower house. However, senior advocate Prakash Bahadur Kesi insisted that the Constitution has entrusted a right to the President to make a decision on the appointment of the Prime Minister. Prior to the presentation of the amicus curiae, senior advocates Krishna Prasad Bhandari, Harihar Dahal, Badri Bahadur Karki and Shambhu Thapa presented their counter-arguments and claimed that the bench could issue a mandamus against the President.
The Election Commission has published the schedule for upcoming midterm elections. The schedule comes at a time when the hearing on the writs filed at the Supreme Court against the dissolution of the House of Representatives is at its final stage. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli had dissolved the lower house on 22nd of May and had announced 2 phases of midterm elections to be held on 12th and 19th of November later this year. Political parties are required to register their respective parties at the Election Commission within 15th to 30th of this month. The Commission fixed 5th and 6th of September to file for candidacy for the first phase of election and 16th and 17th of the same month for the second phase of election. The vote counting is scheduled to begin from 19th of November. The 456 megawatt Upper Tamakoshi hydropower project that first kicked off 11 years ago has finally begun producing electricity. The hydropower plant has begun producing 76 megawatt electricity for commercial purpose from yesterday. The plant was virtually inaugurated by Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli yesterday. The 76 megawatts produced was connected to the national transmission line. The project has announced the plant's second unit will produce an additional 76 megawatts from next week, and that 4 other units have yet to be tested. The project had begun in the Nepalese calendar year 2067 with the plan to complete constructions in 4 years. However, the 2015 earthquake, border blockade and coronavirus pandemic had obstructed constructions. The project has said the investment costs that was initially estimated at 35.33 billion rupees more than doubled to 85 billion rupees due to the delay. The Upper Tamakoshi project is expected to generate a revenue of 9 billion rupees annually. And we'll take a short break here. We have more news coming up. Welcome back. The country continues to reel under coronavirus as 23 more individuals succumbed to COVID-19 yesterday, taking the country's death tally to 9,248, while the death rate stands at around 1.5%. Meanwhile, the total number of COVID-19 cases in the country has crossed 646,000 as 1,745 more individuals tested positive for the virus yesterday. The Kathmandu Valley reported 562 new cases. According to the Health Ministry, 7,499 tests through the PCR method were carried out and the infection rate now stands at 23.2%. The health authorities have pointed out that the relaxation in the prohibited orders has contributed to the increase in the infection rate. Meanwhile, 2,211 individuals registered full recovery, taking the recovery tally to over 611,000, while the recovery rate stands at 94.6%. Based on the Health Ministry's report, currently there are 25,690 active cases, out of which 22,998 are in home isolation, 571 in intensive care units and 180 on ventilator support. The Kathmandu Valley has lifted the restrictions on the movement of private and public vehicles based on the odd-even number plate system effective from today, following the decision made by the district administration officers of the valley. The 3 district administration officers of the Kathmandu Valley have further eased restrictions on the prohibited order, even as the COVID-19 infection rate has not gone down below 20%. According to the decision taken by the district administration officers, public vehicles can operate without surpassing their seat capacity. Only public vehicles with at least 25 seat capacity had been allowed to operate from last Tuesday. The 3 chief district officers of the Kathmandu Valley have also decided to allow short, medium and long distance vehicles enter the valley after receiving permits. Most of the businesses in the valley were given permission to open from last Tuesday. However, restrictions still remain on the operation of cinema halls, party palaces, beauty parlors, salons, gymnasiums, religious sites and educational institutions. Restrictions on their operation have been extended until 15th of July. Around 50% of the budget allocated by the Karnali province government has been frozen every year due to inability to implement projects. In this context, in our Public Voice segment, we had asked the locals in Surkhet, why has the provincial government failed to implement the budget? Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public Voice.
Systematic योजना छैन, rule and regulation छैन. यदि rule and regulation योजना हुने भने प्रत्येक महिना 12 महिना चाहिँ विकासका निर्माणका गतिविधिहरूलाई कन्टिन्युटी दिनुपर्छ।
राम्रोसँग कार्यान्वयन नभएको कारणले बजेट फ्रिज भएको, कमजोरी सरकारबाटै भएको हो।
पहिला कार्यान्वयन नहुने र अन्तिम समयमा आएर जस्तो असारको महिनामा मात्रै यो कार्यान्वयन गर्न खोज्ने एउटा यो जुन खालको यो प्रवृत्ति छ।
कसलाई दिन मेरो मान्छे को छ भन्ने खोज्ने, अनि त्यो खोज्दा खोज्दै आर्थिक वर्ष पनि सिद्धिन लाग्छ, अनि लास्टमा ल्याउँदा काम गर्ने अब पाउँदैन, मान्छे पाउँदैन।
It's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
And here's the question: why have questions been raised time and again on the banking security system? The options are A, lack of required investment, B, indifferent regulators, and option C, lack of consumer awareness. The voting is on. Type NAWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And that's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Have a great day ahead.